The South Bank had seen one of our other projects in Birmingham, and so they asked us to look at this project. I think they were looking at a few artists to do the project, and they had the Martin Luther King quote that they wanted for us to use about the strength of love, and it was called Temple. It was called a temple, and obviously we're given the whole background to Georgia Ward, who is the curator of the whole of the festival. They gave us the whole background about the 7 types of love, and we had never heard of agape, and so we had to look up to see what that meant, and it was the love of humanity. And for us, neither Luke or I are religious, and so it was absolutely great for us because it was about the love of humanity, and it wasn't about a specific religion or anything. And so then that was just like a gate opening, because there were just so many references of places it experienced over the years, and about religious places. Like we went to Burma and there were temples, and I've been up to a monastery on the top of a hill, and how to actually sort of get the essence of those things, but not actually specifically connecting them to anything that was of a religion. Not that it couldn't have a spiritual feel about, that I think that's quite complex, isn't it?
This whole experience is something that isn't about religion and needn't involve any of the problems that I think religion can bring to many occasions. And if it's a way that love can be celebrated without it being in any way connected with any particular religion, I think that's a fantastic thing.
In this instance, I sat on a train and I drew the temple as it is, really. I just drew the front of the temple with the type. And then from then we made a model, and then we showed them the original illustration. They really liked it, so then we developed it from there, and then it just moved very, very fast. And the South Bank were unbelievably brilliant to work with. They were just like, yeah, go for it, just go. And then when anybody says to me, go for it, then I go for it.
Well, I think you can probably see what Morag did. Which doesn't really leave very much for me, does it? But when we start these projects, we will together discuss how we might tackle this, and often in fact nearly always it's going to be a pitch, so we will put a scheme together between us, and from that it will be a matter of who's doing what on which project, how much time different people have available out of us two, and who has certain direct things that they want to put into it.
I mean, sometimes you're given the dream job, you're given an amazing job, and to be given a temple, like years ago I was given a train in Deptford, and how many trains are you get? You're not given a train very often, and then suddenly you're given the word temple that you can take and do what you want with. I think that is just so exciting. The one thing that South Bank really wanted us to do or they really explained to us, was that the building is so huge, and people often think that the things they make will be more significant than they are, but actually when they're out here, they get lost among the whole sort of just the surroundings, because there's so many things going on. And so if you want to make an effect, you have to then work with scale, you have to work with, so I suppose that was the thing, to sort of go, actually we're going to make this thing and we want it to be noticed. So the biggest was the engineering, the engineering on the project. But what is so brilliant about that is that when we're so involved in everything, there isn't somebody who does that for us or anything. We totally are involved in that. Every project's different. A movement cafe was fine, but it was over in a nice, under a tree in a thing, then suddenly you do something in a completely exposed environment. You've got to learn all over again, so, but now we've done it, and it's still standing, and so that's great.